What's going on, everyone? It's your boy JR, and thank you for tuning in. We have a new bike. Yes, it's the BMW R18 B, B for bagger, or however you want to pronounce it. This is the bike that I've always wanted, but I just couldn't afford it. I'm no stranger to the R18 platform. My old bike was the R18 first edition. I didn't have the fairing or the saddlebags, but this is it. Traded in the Triumph Street 765 RS for this one, the BMW R18 B. I did take it out for a quick ride on the highway, 300 kilometers, and I have to say, it rode marvelous. So let's give you a little quick rundown on this bike here. Let's talk about the engine first. That's first and foremost. That's what gravitates everyone, is to the engine. So what do we have? We have an 1802 cc boxer engine, 91 horsepower, 116 pounds of torque. Shaft driven, and that's exposed. Look at that. It is gorgeous. Every angle of this bike is a work of art. When the time comes and I can no longer ride a motorcycle, I'm gonna somehow put this bike inside the house. This is very similar to a Harley Street Glide with the bat fairing on here. We'll start from the front. This one has the adaptive headlights, which is awesome, and I think that's a must for any bike, right? That way you can adjust the headlight accordingly as you turn the handlebars. You're always gonna have light on the road. You have LED turn signals on here. One thing that this bike doesn't have is right over here. The ACC, the adaptive cruise control. I don't have the adaptive cruise control. I do have the cruise control. You got dual disc brakes here in the front. Now, rumor has it that these are Brembo brakes, but with BMW, they don't want to show Brembo on there, so it does have the BMW nameplate on there. Give you a side view of this bike. So very similar to my R18 in a sense that the engine is the same, but aside from that, all the components are different. If you look at the rake on this bike, it's a little bit different than the first edition. It's actually a little bit shorter. The R18 first edition was raked out a little bit, so the ride is more flickable. I find that this is more controllable on this versus the first edition. Obviously, you got the bat fairing on here that is attached to the fork itself. I got a buddy who has a Road Glide, and we were just chatting about this thing earlier this afternoon, and his fairing's actually bolted on to the frame. So when it was windy, it's an optical illusion here. So when you have to counter steer, the fairing is not moving. However, on something like this, it moves with the bike, right? So a little bit of an adjustment on there. You do have a bigger tank on this, 24 liters on this one. Range to empty on a full tank is 400 kilometers. I don't know if you can get to 400 on rock. I primarily ride on rock. You do have rock, rain, and roll, so I think you would have to be on roll or rain to get to that 400 kilometers. You got the blackout jugs over here. On my other bike, it was all chromed. Dual exhaust, just like the other bike. on my last bike, I actually went with some Shorty GP exhaust on here. Super loud, sounded great, but the backfire on it was just, I don't know how that would affect my exhaust valves on there. Take a look at that. So, give you a little background. I'm 41 years old. I have a 28-inch inseam. I'm 5'5", 140 pounds, and this bike fits perfectly. Like I can almost flat foot both feet. On the other bike, I can flat foot for sure, no problem. The seat height on this is 28 and some odd inches. The other bike was 27 inches, so that extra inch does make a difference. Now you have to take in consideration, this is a bagger, so you gotta compensate for the saddlebags and for your passenger on here. So, and the seat's a little bit different. This is an upgrade. This is a 719 style. I do have heated seats on here. Got a huge screen on here. I think this is like 10.25 inch or something. Kind of mix between digital and analog. So, you got the fuel range here, your fuel gauge, your speedometer, your RPM, and your power reserve. This is similar to a Rolls Royce on here. About 130 kilometers an hour at cruise control. I think I was sitting about 2,500 RPM, and the power reserve was sitting at about 50. On the highway, this thing has no issues with passing vehicles or anything like that. But this is such a torquey bike in the first gear, second, third gear, maybe fourth. But after that, you're always asking yourself for more power. Take a look at this. So you got a lockable fuel over here. This over here is your cell phone holder, and it has a USB to charge the phone, and there's fans on here to keep your phone cooled. I got heated grips on here. One downside on this bike is that the heated grip was actually, I think, up here, right over here. And that was quick and easy to access. But to get to the heated grips, you actually have to go through the menu a couple spots to adjust the heated grips and the heated seats. I should have kept the first edition emblem, because that would have been pretty cool. Had like bronze on here. I got a buddy who powder coats, so I'm thinking some of the chrome stuff will have to get powder coated for sure. Probably some of this stuff I'm thinking about powder coating. Maybe the exhaust as well, the cover anyways. Underneath the cover, it's all black, but I think it kind of gives it a nice contrast with the black and the chrome a little bit. It's not too much chrome. Got Marshall speakers, 4 speakers. So you got the subs here in the back, and then you got basically the treble here in the front. On the highway, sounds great. My buddy was saying, hey, like, are those like aftermarket? I'm like, no, that's stock. Pounds pretty good. One downside with these guys is the space in here. It looks deceiving. It looks like you can put a lot of stuff, but no, not at all. You can barely put a backpack in here. You got the flats of floorboards, which is great on here. Even the brake, it's all metal here too. You got floorboards at the passenger. I love this. Added the sissy bar, or the backrest for the passenger. I'm gonna get a bag here, just for long distance touring. take a look at that. LED lights here in the back as well. The cool thing when you start this vehicle up is it shakes, right? Because the pistons are shifting right and left here. One thing that I'm slowly getting used to is the heel and toe shifter. I think I'm gonna have to bring down the toe a little bit. That way I don't have to go and hunt for the heel for my upshifts. On my other bike, I just never used my heel. I just started using the toe shifter for my ups and downs. Huge kickstand. And thank goodness for this tab over here. Even at 5.5, it is a little bit of a stretch to pull the kickstand back in. It's a sweet looking bike. It looks like it fell out of the sky. This is a UFO on two wheels. Harley riders, when they see this thing, or it doesn't even matter if you're a Harley rider, but any rider in general, they get amazed. They look at it and like, holy that's a massive bike. And it is massive. 877 pounds. It does have reverse. Oh, I forgot to show you that. So it does have the reverse gear here. So it uses the starter motor to reverse back. And when I have the bike on the wheel chock over here, I can't pull it out. I physically have to put this into reverse and back out. Even has a stabilizer here. This is so cool. I can look at this bike day in, day out. Riding position, let's talk about the riding triangle here. At 5.5, it does have somewhat of a 8-bar. It's not drastic. On my other bike, it was lower for sure and pulled back. This one is higher and pushed forward a little bit. I do wish it was maybe a couple inches, a little bit higher. That would have been perfect, and my arms would be nice and straight. My arms do kind of slope down a little bit, but no fatigue in the arms, no strain. The angle for my knees is definitely at 90 degrees for sure. But I just completed a 300 kilometer highway ride, and there was no complaints with my knees. If ever, I could throw my knees on top of the jugs, or my legs on top of the jugs, and that would be fine. I did that on my other bike. I wear pants anyways, so it's not gonna burn me. It's air cooled for the most part. So as long as you're moving, you're not gonna get burnt. I love this. I love this bike. Like I mentioned, this is the bike that I wanted, but I just couldn't pay for it. It's a much more expensive bike than the regular R18. Obviously, again, you got the bat fairing, you got the screen on there, you got the speakers, you got the saddlebags. So anything that I plan on doing in the future, I'm gonna get a touring bag here in the back because these saddlebags suck. Again, I like it. I don't know. Here, let me show you. Pop them out. You pull this. It's really deceiving. Like a backpack barely fit in here. I had to fold that puppy in. You can lock it just from here. Just right there. That's the lock. It does have TPMS on here, which is nice. I think the recommended is 46 and 42. And I think I was on 46 and 40 on the ride for today. Could have dropped the rear air a little bit just because the temperature today was, I don't know, it said plus 15, but it felt like it was 8 degrees. So dropping the rear air would have gave me a little bit more traction. Because of the Boxer engine, it does emit some vibration, and you feel it everywhere. Primarily a lot in the floorboards. You feel that. You feel a little bit of on the handlebars, and as you're revving it out, you do feel it in the seat. When you're downshifting and rev matching, just because of, again, the pistons on here, it does kind of shift weight a little bit, but it's not bad. Let's turn this thing on here. So I got the bikes synced up with my with my intercom with inside my helmet, and then we got a couple settings here. There is 5 settings for the grips, and then 5 settings for the seat. Now, so I think we just got cut out there. So 5 settings for the heated grips and 5 settings for the heated seats. I have them at number 3. I think that's the happy medium. It got to a point where I had to turn down the heated grips and the seat. It was just burning through my gloves and my my pants. You do have this rotary dial to kind of get it through settings and things like that. So for example, let's just get through here. So I'm gonna shift over to the left a little bit to get to my vehicle, and we'll press down on the menu for select. So range to empty right now, 338. At one point it was 395, I think it was, or 385. 1,700 kilometers on the odometer. This thing won't show up until you have the vehicle actually on. And spec-wise, they're saying 42.6 and 46.9. I had this thing at about 46, and then this thing at 40. Let's pull out of here. Got radio, you got the navigation. The only downside with the phone holder is where the USB is. Depending on the type of phone, you're going to have basically a phone with no case on here, just because of the limited space here. But you also need to have a very short cord, probably 6 inches. It's probably the max. Let's back out of here. Got your media, you can sync up to your phone. The settings on here. So this is the problem. To get into your heated grips and heated seats, you have to go to settings. And then you got to scroll down to heating. And then change it from here. The other thing that this bike doesn't have that my other R18 did have was hill assist. And that was great. So basically, once you come to a complete stop, like the bike won't just roll back on hill assist. So you're going to really have to like balance that front brake there and your back brake. I'll post a video here shortly on my short highway ride. But aside from that, you guys, this is it. This is my BMW R18 B for bagger. Love the bike. I probably will keep this bike for quite some time. As you get older, I'm 41, and I think the days of me, wringing out a sport bike or a naked bike, whether that be 12,000 or 14 or 16,000 RPM, those days are gone. The only way you're going to enjoy those bikes is when you're going super fast. This bike, I tell you what, it's not the fastest bike out there or the most powerful bike, but hey, it looks freaking cool. You have to agree with me on that. It looks cool, and the ride is just that much more enjoyable. You're playing your music through the Marshall speakers, you're cruising, the wind, the buffeting, not really. I'm 5'5", and there's a little bit of helmet buffeting going on. That's probably the first upgrade that I would do on this one, is replace the stock OEM wind deflector here. And I would go with an aftermarket one, and I'll probably pull it back a couple inches. And that's probably all I need to get that wind buffeting out of my helmet. But that's it, you guys. I thought I'd just post a quick video on my new bike. Let you guys know that, hey, I'm still making videos here in Southern Alberta. We don't have the opportunity to be riding bikes year round, but we're very fortunate today. February 1st, I took this bike out. It was plus 15 at one point, and there's no snow. So when there's no snow and the weather's okay, I'm going to ride this bike as much as I can. I don't think I'm going to do a whole lot of mods, because that's what's probably going to happen is usually I mod the bike and I end up selling the bike right away. Just the luck of the draw. But something on this, I think I'm going to keep for a while. All right, you guys, that's it. Thanks for tuning in. As always, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe for future content. Talk to you soon.